When you came to Berkeley, Berkeley and Courant are very different places. You mentioned one was public, one was private, but there's a lot of difference in terms of their size and things like that. Was that an attractive component to it, and how do you think that influenced your work over the years?
Berkeley is has financial troubles, but and no longer ranks as the best university in the world. Lots of things, for lots of reasons, but still, I think probably the best graduate school in the world. It has an unbelievable range of outstanding people in a very large number of disciplines. And if you're interested in the application of mathematics, it gives you unbelievable opportunities to do various things with lots of people. So I had lots of very happy collaborations with the people in mechanical engineering. I mentioned Tony before. There were other people. There was Corcus, who was an engineer who was interested in turbulence. There was a number of numerical people there. There was Stanley Berger, which I should have mentioned, with whom I worked a fair amount. He's been interested in biomathematics, and we had very interesting exchanges and joint work.
There was Den in chemistry, if I remember.
I had a very happy collaboration with Morton Den, who was in chemical engineering, I believe, or chemistry in that college. And again, the collaboration gave rise to some interesting algorithms, and in fact, some of the work on the more advancing formalism was started in the context of collaboration with Morton Den and the graduate student who came to work with us both, a postdoc who came to work with us both. So that has been a very happy collaboration. There have been also very interesting exchanges over the years in mathematics. I had a very interesting collection of exchanges and a conversation with Kato about Navier-Stokes equations, about how the theory and the computation interact, and it was extremely interesting. I started learned more probability in the various courses in stat in Berkeley. The breadth of Berkeley and the fact that the human landscape is so varied and the interest in mathematics department is so varied has been extraordinarily helpful, because you can learn lots of things by talking to people and by sitting in on courses, and I've done that over the years also. I've enjoyed those other aspects of Berkeley which are not necessarily having to do with research. I've taught lots of undergraduate courses, and I'm not so sure I'm like such a great undergraduate teacher. I tend to be disorganized, but I've actually had very pleasant exchanges or conversation with undergrads about lots of things. And my custom is to, when I teach an undergraduate course, I tend to sit outside the building there before the classes, just sit there, and people come and ask questions. And I expected them when I started doing that to ask questions about math. But it turns out that if you open to questions and people, juniors and seniors, come and ask questions which are not mathematical, they ask questions like, how much do you make? How does it become a mathematician? What kind of career is that? Things, obviously people...
Berkeley undergraduates are not shy people.
No, right. And often, of course, many of them come from families in which there's no academic before. They have no idea what kind of career this is. And if you can talk to them, you can actually do some good, some be helpful, and that's very enjoyable. That's what universities should do. And I for ideological and other commitments, I am very much devoted to the notion that university should be something which is run by the government, and that everybody open to the public as much as possible, and not in which the people who are better off do not have too much of a leg up over people who don't. Many years I've been an undergraduate advisor, and I pride myself in doing a very good job. You come for signatures and advice, and they get the conversation, in which you get to ask questions, I get to ask questions, they have to get to think about what they want to do, they get to ask me advice about where to apply and what's important and what's not important. I've talked to parents of students who have students complaining their parents want them to do such and such, which is unreasonable, and I told them to bring their parents to talk to me, and I've done that quite a number of times. I told parents that their ideas about what's a reasonable career are unreasonable.
How did that go over?
Sometimes well, sometimes not.
How did the students feel watching you tell their parents they were being unreasonable?
They're often very pleased. So this aspect of Berkeley, which is a large state university of high quality, is something which to me is very precious. And I regret that the state is disinvesting in education and that this Berkeley is becoming privatized. It has to, but it's regrettable. It closes the door to people. And this is something which I thoroughly enjoyed in Berkeley. I feel comfortable in Berkeley, in the city of Berkeley, not only because the climate is good and the views are nice, but because I'm comfortable with human climate.
The traffic?
The human climate. The fact that lots of people who are not necessarily entirely concerned with making money, whose views can be somewhat controversial, who are... I have strong political views about issues to do with Israel, and my relatives describe me as a Berkeley radical. And there's some truth in that. I mean, I tend to be conservative in my personal habits, but my views are somewhat radical in lots of things, and it's something which is great about Berkeley. I certainly, it's something I'm extraordinarily grateful to have had the opportunity to work here.
So one of my feelings about Berkeley is it simultaneously is incredibly big. You couldn't possibly exhaust it. But somehow it is a bit small. You don't see very powerful fiefdoms and things like that. And there is an aspect of only a certain sort of person is willing to talk to undergraduates and teach them all day long. And that filters towards a type of person who wants to be a professor here.
Yes, I'm sure that's the case. I'm sure that it's a place where you cannot build empires. That's Berkeley. I'm glad my career has been here and not in New York. The fact that it's so easy here to have students in other departments and to collaborate with people in other departments without bureaucratic impediments is a tremendous asset. It has been an asset to me.